Hello everyone. I promised you to continue with the 3 astrological Liliths. Let's just sum up very briefly what we have stated until now. So the Lilith-myth is a very ancient story, but Bible story, actually the original creation story. And the myth itself has 3 turning points. The first one is when Lilith revolts against injustice and decides not to accept to be below Adam. The second one is when Lilith leaves the Garden of Eden and accepts the curse, takes upon herself Yahweh's curse instead of going back. And the third one is when she goes back to the Garden of Eden because she needs to rectify the mistake that Yahweh made, and she needs to give soul to the second wife, Eve, who was soulless up till that point. So those are the 3 turning points of the myth. And if you wondered why we could give the same name to 3 different celestial objects, then I will tell you that, first of all, only one is a true celestial object, the asteroid Lilith. And also and I think that this is a thought that I read in Demetra George's wonderful book. It's an old book. It's called Mysteries of the Dark Moon. And she talks about the 3 astrological Liliths and also the balsamic moon, the black moon phase of the moon. And she says that we should remember that the goddess always manifests in 3 forms. Now, this is very, very true for the moon goddess, who has 3 manifestations, the Virgin, the Mother, and the Crone. And in the Lilith's case, okay, we have the 3 turning points of the myths. That's what we are going to utilize here. But before we do that, I'm going to show you a picture of the relief that you can see actually in your very own British Museum. Sometimes it is put on display. I haven't seen it for quite a while. I think I saw it about 20 years ago. And the next year when I went back, I couldn't find it. And I think it's not on display at the moment. But anyhow, this is Lilitu, or sometimes called Inanna, or sometimes called Ishtar. It is a feminine figure, a bird-like figure. I mean, it's a feminine torso, but the legs are definitely bird-like, and she has wings. And she is standing on lions, and there are 2 owls keeping her company. It's an ancient manifestation of the creator goddess, a form of the creator goddess. But even more interesting is the myth connected to Lilitu, who was Ereshkigal's handmaiden. Ereshkigal is the goddess of the underworld, and for a while, when Mesopotamian tablets the cuneiform tablets were deciphered, they couldn't find the object, the celestial object, linked to Ereshkigal. And it's quite interesting. Why not? Obviously, because in Mesopotamian visual astrology, the underworld meant that a celestial object, a planet, or of course a visible planet or a star, gets very, very near to the sun. So that is the underworld. To be near the sun is actually the Mesopotamian underworld. And Lilitu is featured in the story where all the gods are holding a meeting, and they are expecting Ereshkigal, but she never shows up. She sends Lilitu instead of herself. Of course, she can't show up because she's not a physical object. She is the underworld, which is manifested by being close to the sun. And if you know this story, and you know that Babylonian astrology was visual astrology, then you will understand how all those rules in traditional astrology came into being. You know, to be burned, to be combust, for instance, when a planet is too close to the sun, or to be under the rays of the sun, which is within 15 degrees of the sun. So those came from all these visual manifestations. Let's get back to our 3 astrological Liliths. There's the asteroid Lilith, number 1181. So, you know, the number of an asteroid tells you the order by which they were discovered. So this was the 1181th discovery. And when you add up the number, I hope you do numerology as well, or you are at least interested in numerology, then you get 11/2. Now 2 is the moon, very feminine, the most feminine of the numbers, and 11 is the number of chaos. So it's one of the master numbers. We link it to Uranus, but it has a deeper meaning. It's according to Pythagoras, the first 9 numbers are linked to human beings. 10 is the number of God, and 11 is the number that is describing the states behind God, which is chaos. So that's what Lilith carries in numerology, and it describes, the asteroid Lilith describes the revolt against injustice. It describes in the story Lilith revolts against Yahweh's injustice. Here's the glyph for the asteroid Lilith. It actually is the Lilith's hand. So it's actually, it's stylized as a hand. And whenever it is prominent, and by prominent, by definition, by prominent, I mean that it is conjunct, tightly conjunct, something important in the chart. What is important in the chart? Sun, moon, ascendant, chart ruler, the nodes, the midheaven, the IC, personal planets. Those are really important and prominent. And within 2-3 degrees is a conjunction. So that's how you look at it. You can take a look at other aspects as well if you know how to do it. But first, if you are acquainted with karmic astrology and karmic layers, that's the way to go. First look only at the conjunctions, the tight conjunctions only. And so you will slowly learn how to decipher the meaning. I should have mentioned that by definition, the Lilith-myth can, as its entirety, can only be delineated in feminine charts. In men's cases, this is something that they don't actually resonate with. It's very, very hard to describe. Or this, I managed once. There was one client that had very prominent Liliths, and all 3 were very prominent. And he actually manifested the Lilith-myth within him. But usually everyday clients don't have a clue what it means and don't really know what to do about it. So, so whenever the 3 are prominent, all 3 are prominent, then treat it as a Lilith-myth. And when 1 or 2 are prominent only, then describe them as archetypes. And Lilith, asteroid Lilith as an archetype describes revolt against injustice. So if it's prominent, then the native cannot bear injustice at all and will always revolt no matter what. The second item is a very strange item. This is the dark moon. And it has been known for about 400 years. And it's a strange thing. We don't exactly know what it is. It is the second satellite of the Earth. It's about 3 times farther than the moon. And it is not a solid object. It is something more like a dust cloud. But many people observed it. It is usually observed whenever, every 6 months, it crosses over the face of the sun, and is so this is where you can actually take a picture of it or actually detect it. And the latest photograph that I seen was taken by two Polish astronomers, I think sometime in the 1980s. As far as I believe, it was in 1983. So check it out. You may find it on the internet. But anyhow, so it is, to me, it is like a more like a fourth dimensional object, something coming from the astral plane, which is not a nice plane. You don't want to go to the fourth dimension. That is where the ghosts are residing, so you don't want to go there. But dark moon Lilith is something like a ghost. It's very ghost-like. It's like a dust cloud. And it describes the turning point, the second turning point of the Lilith myths, when Lilith leaves the Garden of Eden and accepts Yahweh's curse and doesn't go back. Remember, she utters Yahweh's unutterable name, which indicates that she has power. Of course, she is the creator goddess manifestation. And she leaves. Now, the aspect of leaving a confined, beautiful, safe, perfect world and going into the unknown, you need huge courage or huge rage to be able to do that. So whenever someone has dark moon Lilith prominent, they are able to wipe up this huge rage and the ability to leave behind whatever is there and just go into the unknown and never look back. That's what dark moon Lilith signifies. And here is the glyph for dark moon. It is a circle with a diagonal line, and it signifies perfection broken. As you may know, that the circle signifies the mind, but also perfection and also entirety. This is a very complex figure. And the diagonal line crossing over it, simply breaking it into two, signifies this kind of split, this kind of broken energy that the dark moon is carrying in herself. And the black moon Lilith actually is the third turning point of the Lilith myths. When Lilith gets wind of the fact that Eve is being manufactured, again, remember, she's not created, she's manufactured. So it's a lower type of manifestation of reality. And she knows, Lilith knows, that Eve doesn't have a soul. She's soulless. How does she know this? She must have had some sort of clairvoyance, clairaudience, remote sight, something like that. So all these are also linked to the black moon, the third manifestation of Lilith. But she also needs to have strength, determination, stamina, endurance, huge courage to go back to a place where she left on her own volition, but actually was cursed. So she was banished from that, and she needs to go back there. She takes the form of the serpent, and she goes back to the Garden of Eden and gives the apple to Eve, which is eternal knowledge, which is knowledge of the feminine, which is also, as I explained in my previous video, it's a very interesting thing how you can only understand what in its entirety what's happening when you know Hungarian and Latin, because apple in Hungarian is alma, and alma in Latin is soul. So this is how it was actually hidden. The true meaning was hidden in the myth. What is the black moon? The black moon is a point in space. There is the Earth-Moon ellipsis right here, and the ellipsis has two focal points. In one focal point is the Earth itself, and the other focal point is empty. And this empty focal point is Lilith. I'm going to also show you the glyph for Lilith in some more enlarged version. Here it is. You have the crust of matter, above which you have the balsamic moon, the last phase of the moon. And that is, you know, in iconography or in the symbolism, it is always symbology. There's always the higher you go up, the hierarchy is getting higher as well. So that this dark moon or black balsamic moon is actually ruling over the crust of matter. This is how we can explain the glyph itself. So this is the third turning point of the Lilith myths, and it usually describes the ability to accept an important task that no one else can do, only you, to accept duty, really, and to actually be able to complete it from beginning to the end perfectly. And also the ability to see things that are hidden, and to manifest a lot of courage and also a lot of endurance to be able to complete a task. That is kind of a sacred task. That is something that no one else can do, and also something that needs to be done at all cost. Otherwise, everything is lost. These are the three Liliths in the natal chart. I will probably show you, so there's going to probably be a third video on Lilith, on the Lilith manifestation, because I want to show you in practice how we delineated them in the chart. So I'm going to probably give you a couple of examples to see how they manifest. But I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching. And if you are interested in other videos, please subscribe to my channel. And thank you again.